So today we have this speed networking event, and our special guest from New York, USA, is Rebeka Garcia. Rebecca, so can you introduce yourself and tell us what do you do, why are you here?
Yeah, so I'm really excited to be here. It's my first time in Kazakhstan, and I am a technical program manager at Microsoft, and I also co-founded a nonprofit called CoderDojo NYC, where we teach kids to code. So I was invited by the U.S. State Department and the U.S. Embassy here in Kazakhstan, and so I've been meeting with a lot of the local schools and organizations and just sharing some knowledge on the tech industry and how to work in it, and seeing what else is new in education here.
So CoderDojo is an international event, or is it based only in NYC?
Yeah, so the chapter that I co-founded is in New York City, but there are chapters all around the globe, CoderDojo chapters, and there are over 1,000 chapters now in over 60 countries around the world.
So by the time you've been here, was anyone interested in founding, hosting the chapter of CoderDojo here?
Yeah, there were. There was some young women that I talked to, and they were like, where can I find the information for it? So anybody can start their own chapter, and they start chapters in universities, co-working spaces like this, and also in local startups and libraries. So it's a really great initiative for free education.
That's really great, because in Kazakh startups, like one of the top problems here in the market is the lack of specialists regarding the tech sector. So maybe with your help, or some girls can get some feedback from you, and you'll just distantly can help them out setting out the chapters here.
Yeah, I think it's really great, though, the education and the knowledge that I've seen here, whether that's been the different groups that are learning to code or teaching young people to code. I think it's really amazing to see it, starting to get bigger.
So how did you start? What's your initial background? Did you from the start wanted to be a programmer, or just how did you come to that?
Yeah, when I was younger, I knew that I liked building things and creating things. So I liked, strategy, video games, like SimCity and Civilization. And I ended up realizing that I wanted to create things. So I started teaching myself to code when I was younger. And then I started learning full stack development, so PHP, MySQL, Ruby on Rails. And then I actually didn't study computer science in the US or technology. I actually studied business management, and I continued to teach myself on the side, got internships, became a developer, and have had a really great time in both being a part of the tech industry and encouraging others to be a part of it.
CoderDojo, you also said that you are in Microsoft product development, or what else do you do?
So when I'm not working full-time at Microsoft, I'm also, as I mentioned, involved in nonprofit education, but I also enjoy yoga and I do triathlons. And in New York, as a city, I love being able to walk around and cook and just get out into the city. So
yeah, New York is a really special place. So you've always lived in New York, or you moved there?
Yeah, so I grew up outside of New York City, and then I lived in Boston for a few years, so a bit smaller than New York City, and then moved to work full-time in technology in New York City.
Do you have any plans for future projects that you want to start, like startups, or are you just planning to continue doing what you do?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think right now I'm getting a lot of different experiences from whether I've been at smaller startups. I was the CTO of a health, fitness, and wellness media startup. And I think gaining the experience of how to run, a successful company from the ground up, all the different aspects, I've kind of been learning that along the way, now being at bigger companies. And I do have some ideas for, startups or a startup, with AI or machine learning. And I'm right now just kind of building those things on the side as I continue to get better at programming.
So when can we hear about them?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully in the next year or so. I'm also, I think one of my big passions is encouraging people into tech, and so teaching them these sort of in-between skills, because it's one thing to become a great programmer and know a lot about technology, but I think there's these really valuable skills of being able to knowing how to network, how to connect with people, so like the event that you're hosting tonight, and also leveraging those connections and entering into the tech industry. So
you're also like having a blog, right? Geek Girl?
Yes.
So we'll link all the social media and the link to the website in the description, and maybe we'll follow all your adventures and all your startups on that blog, and get some useful information for people who want to start like their own startups. Like the main point of the blog is to encourage people, so I believe that will be very impactful.
I think that the work that you're doing here is really great, and being able to encourage people to not only be in technology but develop those skills, especially because I think no matter what, if you decide to work in tech or not, knowing how to code or how computers work is really important.
Great. So how long have you been here in Astana already?
So I've been in Astana for about 5 days now, and I will be heading to Almaty on Saturday and continuing to explore and learn more about Kazakh culture.
So the question you've been asked for like a million times, I'll ask you one more time. So you've been to Expo. What are your impressions of that event?
I really enjoyed Expo, not only sort of seeing culture and history, but also being able to see where the future is, whether that's in clean technology and green tech, but also just the rich cultures and Kazakh culture, and I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing the mythology and sort of a lot of the symbolism that was incorporated too.
Oh, have you heard about Expo before you came here? When you were in New York, somewhere did it pop up that in Kazakhstan is going to host Expo 2017, like green tech and stuff like that? Ever heard about it before you came here?
Yeah, I had heard a little bit about it, and I knew that I didn't know what to expect. And I think that the website didn't do it justice. I think that it was a lot bigger and grander than I had expected, and I highly recommend for anybody, whether they are local here in Kazakhstan or not, to go visit it, to not only learn about new technologies, but also to see what other countries are doing as well, and just kind of get inspiration even for their own, startup or entrepreneurship as well.
You've hosted a couple of speaking events at Method School. So, what are your impressions of the people here? Their professionalism and how people perceive information here, and are they what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I felt that the people that I've met here everybody's been very friendly, and also the students there, they have an interesting variety of knowledge, whether they have, they learned a lot of different programming languages or have been building a lot of different apps. And I think that at Method, they've also been solving a lot of interesting problems. A lot of, they had to apply to get in. And so the people that I'd met, worked really hard and had, again, really interesting problems that they were trying to solve, and wanted to help with both, local business and government. And I think that's really important for strengthening both, as a, locally as a country, the tech ecosystem. And it also shows just how how intelligent they were and how knowledgeable they were.
It's nice to hear. How did you like end up here? Wound up in Kazakhstan with this event, with this like State Department? How did you get involved in this process?
Yeah, so I got involved in the process because I've been an advocate for technology education, STEM education, or computer science as education, as we call it in the U.S. And I think that it's not only important, to share what we are doing in the U.S., but also, our learnings, and so what we would have done better or changed differently. And so I was invited to share that expertise because it was a topic that the U.S. State Department and the U.S. Embassy felt was important, and especially at seeing more coding schools and programs start, and taking some of that knowledge that I had and being able to share it.
Well, thank you for your input. Here. Well, you've been here for like a short period of time, but still, what are your like advice for how do we get more more tech specialists here in Kazakhstan?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things in both talking to people and both here and abroad, the biggest thing is not thinking that a formal education is the only way to go. I think that education is very important, and if you can study it and you are interested in it, to pursue that. But even if you have already graduated or are thinking about what you want to learn, trying technology and seeing how you like it, because you'll never be able to know until you try it. And so anybody, any level can learn to code, can learn technology, and can use it no matter what passions or projects or career they want to pursue. So that's my biggest thing is don't be afraid to try it, and don't think that you don't have the right skills or the right background.
Okay, so let's quickly wrap up. But a couple of like personal questions. What's your favorite TV show?
So my favorite TV show, I like a lot of crime show TVs. So right now I like Rizzoli and Isles, or Elementary, where they're solving who killed someone, and yeah.
What's your favorite cartoon?
My favorite cartoon, that's a good question. I don't know if I have one right now. I used to watch anime, so maybe Miyazaki films. Like, I liked his movies very much. So Spirited Away, things like that.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book is The Alchemist, and I also, if anybody wants to practice their English, I recommend. It's very simple to read in English, and so it's a good short book.
Alchemist is like really popular here.
Oh, is it?
Paulo Coelho, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite music band?
My favorite band, I guess I would say the Lumineers. So very American. We like sort of indie pop, indie folk kind of music. A lot of guitar. If
you would fill your like whole life like motto in like one sentence, what would it be?
My life motto would be, there's a author that I like very much. His name is John Acuff, and his one of the sayings that he has is, don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle. And the idea being that we often see success, or we see other people who are ahead of us, and we compare ourselves. And so we can never realize our own full potential without, stepping away from the bigger picture and seeing where we are now and where we're going.
Thank you for your time and for your...
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks for having me in Kazakhstan. So.